Alright guys, we are back once again to preview another Premier League fixture. My name is Kieran, of course, from Red Devil Weekly, and welcome to the Southampton vs United Premier League preview. Before we get into anything, of course, as always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Still only 10 subscribers away from the elusive 900 subscriber mark, so anything you guys can do to help us out with that would be absolutely fantastic. And leave your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. Even if you're watching the video, we do these live streams live, so hit that notification bell once you've subscribed to make sure you're notified when we do this live. But if you're watching as a video, please do make sure you get your thoughts in the comment section down below. I want to hear what you guys have to say, your predictions going in to this game, the second game of the Premier League season, the second game week for all the teams in the Premier League. And Manchester United go to St Mary's, a ground which we've had a pretty good history on. It has to be said, we had a very good history at St Mary's. Last time out, just about go over the line with a 3-2 win. Cavani with a brace, 90th minute winner from the Uruguayan, and he's back in contention to start this game as well. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll also be talking about how Sancho and Varane, the new summer signings, potentially fit into this starting 11 Sunday afternoon, and also how Southampton will set up and what sort of challenges they'll bring to us in terms of trying to break them down. So with all that said, we're going to get straight into this. Also, it's not going to be the usual hour long. I'm going to be live on another channel after this at about 10 o'clock, so please do make sure you check that out, and I'll let you know where it's on in just a second. But I'll be on that channel at 10 o'clock, and that's why this stream won't be as long as usual. So let's see who's joined us. Welcome Brendan, welcome John. Thanks for joining, appreciate it, guys. Hope you're doing well, and thank you to everyone who is going to be joining. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But anyway, we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to talk a bit about Southampton, because we always talk about, well, not necessarily the away side, obviously, in this case, but the team that we're playing, the opposition, as I like to call them, as many people like to call them. And unfortunately for Southampton, they ended up losing their opening game, I believe, and they lost to Everton, a team which obviously at Goodison Park. And again, the one thing I will say about this season, which is different to most other seasons, is the fact that when you're playing your first game against a team that are having their first home game of the season, there's always going to be that difficulty with their home fans, and obviously the atmosphere in those stadiums are going to be absolutely electric, and it was no different at Goodison Park. I wasn't there personally, but watching on the TV, it looked a very, very good atmosphere, as it probably was up and down the country as well. So it's one of those things where obviously you can't just say, oh yeah, well, we were always going to lose because their home fans were loud. That's a ridiculous excuse, but it's always going to play into it. I think there were some victories had on the opening day of the Premier League season, which had a lot to do with the fans coming back. It had a lot to do with it. And I certainly think, from a Man United point of view, I don't think we would have won that game 5-1 if there wasn't all those fans at Old Trafford. I really, really don't. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Please do let me know. So in terms of Southampton, they lost 3-1 to Everton at Goodison Park. They actually opened the scoring in that game. Armstrong took the lead, their new summer signing from Blackburn. He took the lead, or gave his side the lead, and to be honest with you, at that point I was fearing for Everton, but they got back into it. And I mean, let's be frank, obviously if you look at Southampton's squad, they have lost a few decent players. Obviously Danny Ings going to Aston Villa. There's talk of potentially James Ward-Prowse going. Who knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks of the transfer window, the last few weeks of the transfer window. But if you look on paper, definitely, Southampton's squad was weaker than Everton's, and they probably didn't really expect to go to Goodison Park and win. However, a 3-1 defeat at the opening day of the season, that's not going to do anything for the confidence. But at the same time, this is their first home game of the season, of course, the first time they've been allowed fans back in the ground at full capacity since the lockdowns happened. So it's going to be big for them, and it's going to be big for everyone, really, let's be honest. So that's the one thing that obviously we're going to have to negotiate. And it's also big for us in terms of we're on this quite incredible away run of, not being a game away from home. And we're 2 games away from taking the record from Arsenal. I don't know how many away games without defeat it is, but I'm sure you guys will let me know in the live chat. But I think it's been a decent while, and the one thing that we had on our side definitely was the fact that there were no fans in stadiums. When you go away from home, you don't have that intimidating atmosphere that you get at smaller grounds maybe, or even bigger grounds. Just any ground in general, but those real kind of small, closed-off grounds, I think really do provide that hostile atmosphere that's difficult to play in at times. So that's the one thing that I think Southampton will be looking to bring. They will be looking to use that atmosphere, and also the pressure that some of our new players are going to have. Obviously, Sancho and Varane, a lot of money on them, a lot of pressure is going to be on them. So I think that's what Southampton are going to use to their effect. Let's see a few people. Let's see what a few people are saying. Matthew's joined us. Thanks for joining. Naveen has joined us as well. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. He says, if we don't lose, we match Invincibles away unbeaten run. That's what I was just saying. I was just talking about that. Yeah, it was. It'd be an amazing achievement, really, considering how a lot of people, don't really think we're as good as we actually are, in my opinion. I think we are a very decent side. So the fact we're even on this run and the fact we've shown this sort of consistency away from home is very surprising to me. It's very, very surprising. Mike, thanks for joining. Mike, appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. He says, Andres Pereira was sold to Flamengo. How would you rate your performance at Manchester United? I'm guessing it's Andres Pereira's performance. To be honest with you, I think with Pereira, when he was kind of a young kid coming through the system and when he first burst onto the scene, I was very excited. I thought this was a guy who could, potentially be a very good player for us in the future. Obviously came through under Van Gaal and famously played in that game with Rashford and Varela and Borthwick Jackson, and these guys all played against Arsenal when we won 3-2 at Old Trafford. And that was a very, very exciting time. But since then, he's never really had a run in the team and he's never really been able to find his feet at Manchester United. I think, realistically, a move away for him is probably the best for both parties. I think, even though we love seeing him in pre-season, he scored a banger in the game we played in pre-season against Everton, I believe. It wasn't Everton, it was someone else. It'll come to me. But he scored a fantastic goal in that game. And, in the end of the day, we have seen some decent goals from him. That's all I can really say. In terms of his overall play, it's never really been fully up to Manchester United standard. And yeah, you can argue that in recent seasons the whole team hasn't been up to Manchester United standard. But Andres Pereira, I think, for both parties, is the best thing for us to part ways with him. And I think he'll do really well there. I think he really will do well in Brazil. Obviously, he is Belgian born, I think, but can play for Brazil and does play for Brazil national. So I think he'll do well. Box, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing good. Brennan says, how does he talk this much non-stop? I just got used to it, mate, to be honest with you. I just got used to it. So, in the end of the day, I know a lot about Man United, or I seem to think I know a lot about Man United. So I kind of just talk about it, really, and then bounce off your comments, which you're happily given to me. Matthew says, Arsenal's record was 27 matches. That is a long record. It's a very, very long record. John says, Red Door Weekly, Man United are finishing 4th this season with 0 trophies. I hope you're wrong. With the greatest respect, I hope you're wrong. But I think we'll finish higher than that. In my opinion. And if we don't finish higher than that, if we get what you're saying there, if you're right, John, I think Ollie's got to go for me. I think he's been given enough tools to at least win a trophy this season. Naveen says, no CDM signing. Yeah, it's frustrating. Obviously, there's still, another 2 or 3 weeks of the transfer window left. So, there's still time. There's still time to potentially bring in a CDM. Some talk of Ruben Neves potentially coming to Old Trafford, us putting a cheeky bid in for him. I don't think it's going to happen. But that is one place that I think a lot of United fans at the start of this window identified and said, realistically, we need to bring in someone in that position. And that's the one position we haven't gone with. I think the 3 positions were right winger, centre back, and CDM. And we've addressed 2 of those. And we've addressed 2 of those very, very well indeed. Pretty well got the 2 targets that I think everyone was wanting, to be fair. But in terms of CDM, I think people were looking at that, as I was certainly looking at that, saying that's the priority, that's what we should be looking for. That's the position that we really, really need to strengthen. And we haven't done it. Obviously, again, there's still time, but I just doubt we're going to get anything. I agree with you, Naveen. I just doubt it's going to happen. So, in that respect, the window hasn't been a 10 out of 10. Obviously, you can't complain too much when you've got Sancho and Varane coming in. It's very difficult to complain. But I think to make it a 10 out of 10 window, if we saw a quality CDM come in, I think we'd be looking very, very good for a title charge. I really, really do. I think we're that good up front. I think we've got a very good midfield right now, apart from that CDM position. And I think we've got a very, very solid defence, especially if Varane can hit the ground running. And potentially, we'll see if he can hit the ground running tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, rather. But that now brings me to my team selection. And I want you guys to let me know your team selections as well, because I think a lot of people are going to be different. I think if you look at the team we put out in that first game, there were a few players that didn't really make it because obviously they've been on holiday or they've been injured. But I think now we've got we're very, very close to a full strength team. Cavani's coming back into the squad. Obviously Varane had a week's training, so he'll be able to come back in. I think we'll see a very, very closest, first team squad. I mean, not first team, full strength 11, I reckon. Obviously, Rashford's injured, and I think he would probably get in on that left-hand side if he was fully fit. So, I think we're getting close to that. We're getting very, very close. Ollie was saying that we're getting fitter and fitter every day. Hopefully, he's right. I do think there's a little bit of PR in that, but I hope he's right because in some of the pre-season games, we didn't look fit whatsoever. We didn't look at the races. I mean, QPR springs to mind, really. But again, a lot of people were worrying in pre-season, saying, if we play like this, we're going to get absolutely slaughtered. And even though they weren't wrong, the fact that, we were playing the kids seemed to not register with some people. Some people were really complaining about how poorly we were playing and how, we're going to be shit this season or whatever. But realistically, if you look at the players we were playing in pre-season and you look at the players we're playing now, it's completely night and day. It's completely night and day. Brennan says because he's not a CDM. So Matthew says McTominay is simply not good enough. I don't know. I mean, for me, I thought McTominay had a good first game. I really did think McTominay had a good first game. In terms of the quality we need to win a title, is he good enough right now? It's debatable. I don't think he is. I think he could definitely be. I think he's still relatively young or early in his career. So I think he could potentially become that player. But as of right now, yeah, I agree. I don't think he's the best CDM we have. But at the same time, I thought he played quite well against Leeds. And if he plays like that against Southampton, I think he'll have another very good performance. Box says De Gea, weak link. I don't know if Owen's controlling your account, Box, but I don't think De Gea is a weak link in this team, to be honest. I think De Gea is actually not a bad goalkeeper. I know we've seen a lot of mistakes from him, and I know people are looking at the proofs in the pudding and all that sort of stuff, but for me, I actually don't think De Gea is too bad. I really, really don't. One thing I will say about De Gea is that, you can question whether his mind is on Manchester United, especially with everything that's going on in the transfer window. You can question whether David De Gea wants to stay at the club. Obviously, we've seen some rumours that he wants to go back to Madrid and all that. So it's an interesting one with De Gea. It's an interesting one. And obviously a lot of people say that, if David De Gea doesn't want to be here, then there's no point keeping him. And I totally agree with that. But that's the only thing. If David De Gea doesn't want to be here, then I think we should get rid of him. But as of right now, he seems committed to the club. And I hope he has a good season. I really, really do. Naveen says Fred's done. It could be, mate. I wouldn't be surprised. Matthew says, we've seen McTominay for 3 years. That is far more evidence that one game against a Leeds team who play to our strengths. Well, I mean, for me, I just think, I think in some ways you have to give him credit. You do have to give him credit. I think sometimes people don't really give him the credit for the performances he actually puts in. I think he has put in some real poor performances, don't get me wrong, but he has put in some very decent performances as well. And as I said, I don't think as of right now, McTominay is good enough to win a Premier League title. I don't think he's up there with the centre defensive midfielders that have won Premier League titles in the past. If you look at every single team that has done well, not just in the Premier League, but all around the world, they have a very, very strong CDM. Chelsea had Kante, Man City had Fernandinho. You look down the years, all these teams have had very, very good central defensive midfielders that have been at the heart of their teams. And, obviously Scott McTominay, we play a bit of a pivot anyway, but if we brought in a proper CDM, I don't think we'd have to play that pivot anymore. But I think McTominay's not at that level yet, but there's no reason for me why he can't get to that level. Box says, McTominay was man of the match in Europa League final. Yeah, again, a performance that no one really looked at because we lost the game, but he was very good in that game. He was very, very good. So I think we do need to look at giving players the credit where credit's due. I think, players get slaughtered, McTominay being one of them. He gets slaughtered a lot for just being a bit of a passion merchant. And at times, you can't argue with that, but obviously, overall, you've got to give players the credit where credit's due, in my opinion anyway. Naveen says, we need a solid CDM, not a player like Scott, who plays rarely good. This is United, no excuses. I see what you mean. Obviously, again, you look at the thing of we've got higher standards than just having players that, play well once in a while. But, as I said, I think this is the season for Scott McTominay. If we don't see anything different from him, then I think we do need to look at other options. But as of right now, and I agree we need a proper CDM to come in, and I really, really hope we do get one. But as of right now, I think Scott McTominay might be a controversial opinion, but isn't the worst option right now. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going to get on to the team that I have put together, and make sure you let me know your thoughts on it. So here is the team I've put together. And as I say, you can have your say about the formation, whether I'm a blithering idiot. Please let me know. But I have put Varane and Sancho both in the starting 11. Now, I was listening to Solskjaer's press conference when I think it was Faker others from TalkSport asked about the two new signings and whether they were going to feature in this game. And Ole remained pretty coy about it, I have to say. He remained pretty coy about it. I think he just said, you'll see on Sunday. So he wasn't giving anything away. But I do think they're both going to start. I would be surprised if, both of them didn't start, or at least I'd be surprised if at least one of them didn't start, let's put it that way. And I think the most likely one to start, especially because he's had a couple of weeks to train now, is Jadon Sancho. And I think he'll slot in on that right-hand side. I think Martial will keep the striker spot. Cavani, of course, coming back into the team. He'll be on the bench. I don't think he's ready for a start yet. And then that means Mason Greenwood playing on that left-hand side. However, probably some of you can't be saying Mason Greenwood can't play on the left-hand side. For me, I think with Greenwood, and the whole of the front three, as I looked at it against Leeds, it's very fluid. They didn't just stay in one position all the time. It was very fluid. Martial at one point was on the right. Greenwood was through the middle. At one point, Fernandes was through the middle. And, they keep changing places. And Ole, even when he first came in, when we had Martial, Rashford and Greenwood, he likes a very fluid front three. So I think those three players, even though maybe you disagree with me with the position I put them in right now, they'll be very fluid up front. Then I've gone with Fernandes as a bit more of a further forward central midfielder. Cam, if you like, maybe number 10, number 8, whichever way you see it, really. I've gone with Pogba and McTominay in that pivot. The one thing I would say about that is this is my predicted lineup. I actually think that Pogba played really well. Obviously got 4 assists. You can't really play too much better than that. He got 4 assists from that left wing position, and even though in the game he wasn't really a left winger, starting on that left wing position, it did seem to give him a lot of freedom. And I'm totally in the camp of the idea that Paul Pogba is a much more influential player when you get him up the pitch. You need to get him up the pitch. When he's in that pivot like there, and he's playing as a kind of central defensive midfielder or just a centre midfielder, he doesn't have that same sort of freedom, and he can't execute the range of passes that we know he can execute as of the evidence of the Leeds game. And then I've gone with McTominay next to him. I just think that Ole's going to go with McTominay, especially after his performance against Leeds on the opening day. The defence in some ways picks itself. I have gone with Raphael Varane in that spot. Now, that's the one thing I'm a little bit torn on. I don't know whether Ole's going to put Varane in straight away. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. And I believe he will, but that is one where if I get it wrong, I'll understand completely, how I've got that wrong, because it's one of those ones which you just don't know. He's had that training. He hasn't really had the match practice. He didn't even play in that friendly, I don't think, against Burnley, the one that was behind closed doors. I'm not sure if you guys would have seen that or seen that on social media. So he didn't seem to play in that one either. So I don't know. I think he will play him. But we'll have to wait and see. And then David De Gea in goal. So let's see what you guys have been saying in the comment section. Naveen says, we need a solid CDM, not a player like Scott, I've just read that one out. He also says, our priority this season is 70. 70%. CDM, Sancho is last year's signing and Varane is lucky signing. Don't want another season sticking with McFred. I mean, I think a lot of United fans echo that sentiment, Naveen. I think a lot of United fans definitely do echo the sentiment that you're giving out. And it's frustrating because we know that, we have the power in the transfer market to go out and get a quality CDM. We've attracted Sancho, we've attracted Varane. We're a very attractive proposition for players to come in. Now, it's obviously difficult, and I think the club's pretty well spent a lot of the budget for this season, or at least I think they have. So I don't see any more signings coming through the door, and I see a lot of people, at the end of this season, potentially, when we haven't won the league, or we haven't really put in a sustained challenge, saying that was where we messed it up. We knew we needed a CDM, and we haven't brought one in. However, this team on paper, even without that CDM, should be good enough to at least put in a challenge, somewhat of a challenge at least, to that title. Owen's joined us. Thanks for joining us. So sadly, no Henderson, but normal service will resume soon in that regard. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I don't know. As I said in the previous stream, it could easily be like the situation we had when De Gea was ill. De Gea went to tend to his wife when he was having a kid. Henderson came in, played well, and kept his spot. And I think Ollie is very much a fan of healthy competition within the group. So I think there's no reason why De Gea might not keep his spot even when Henderson comes back. However, it does mean that De Gea is under a lot of pressure to perform. But that's what you want. You want players to be under pressure for their place. You don't want players who are cruising. We saw that with Telles coming in. Luke Shaw really, really upped his game and did brilliantly. So you want that healthy competition. You want that healthy competition. Box says, Martial not for me. He doesn't think Martial's going to be starting up front. Do you reckon Greenwood's going to get up front then? Let me know your thoughts. It could be Greenwood up front, and then obviously you could play Dan James on that left-hand side. Maybe even Sancho on the left-hand side, Dan James on the right. Box says, get big Dan James in there. I hope so, mate. I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if Dan James has some part to play in this game. I don't think it's going to be from the start. He did start obviously against Leeds, but that was really when Sancho, I don't think, was fully available for this game, and didn't really have that match fitness. But he's come on for the last 15 minutes, been training with the team. So I would be surprised if Sancho didn't start. In my opinion, I'd be surprised if he didn't start. But this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer we're talking about, so he can spring a surprise or two. He's been known to spring one or two surprises. So yeah, that's what I've gone with. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Comment section down below as well if you're watching as a video. And then I'm going to give my score prediction. And then we can just kind of read your comments for the next little while and then see where it takes us, where the tide takes us. So my score prediction for this game, and let me know your score predictions in the live chat as well. I want to hear what you guys have to say on that one. I think, for me, looking at this game, there is a potential banana skin element to it. The fact that it's Southampton's first game of the season is always a difficult one to negotiate. When a team has their first game of the season, their fans are going to be absolutely buzzing, especially in this season because, fans have been away for 18 months. Southampton fans are going to be absolutely buzzing for their team to be back, and watching their team at St Mary's is going to be rocking. There's no doubt about it for me. It's going to be absolutely rocking. But we have to weather that, and I think we will weather that. I think we've got enough quality to overpower the Southampton team, and I think Southampton didn't start the season well. They scored that goal, to be fair, Adam Armstrong. He took it very, very well because of a Michael Keane mistake. But I think we'll just have too much quality for Southampton. I think Southampton are still a very, very good side. We always have a good game with them, no matter whether we're playing at home or we're playing away. We always have a very, very good game. It's always a good battle. But I just think with the quality we've got, I think we'll just be able to overpower them. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Manchester United, and hopefully staying top of the league. Although, looking at the fact that Liverpool have Burnley, I don't see it somehow. But I'm going to go 3-1. Owen says, good team, but I worry Varane or Sancho might not play, but I would probably play your team. Well, thank you very much for that, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers for that promotion there. Raphael Suarez, thanks for joining, Raphael. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, my friend. He says, hello, my friends. Here in Brazil, we think the European doesn't care for the Club World Cup. There are rumours that it's irrelevant, and that is why they didn't play at full strength. Is that true? Yeah, I think you're right, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, hello from Brazil. It's amazing we've got someone in Brazil watching right now, so hope you're doing well, and hopefully it's not too hot over there. I'd be absolutely boiling in Brazil, I tell you. But I think you're right, Raphael. I really do. I think, especially Liverpool. You look at Liverpool, they got to the Club World Cup. I think they won the Club World Cup. But if you look at the teams they're playing in that, I mean, they weren't exactly full strength. They brought their full strength squad with them, but I think they're going to rest. They rested some players, and obviously because it's during the Premier League season, I think that's a huge factor. I think it's a huge factor. If it was out of season and used as a pre-season tournament or something like that, I think you'd see more full strength teams. But because it's during the Premier League season, managers don't want to risk getting players injured for those sort of tournaments when the Premier League's the bread and butter, really. So I think that's probably why you see not a lot of full-strength teams. I think the teams from other countries around the world potentially, play full-strength sides, but I think definitely the winners of the Champions League who then go on to play in the Club World Cup finals, they don't really play their strongest team. I totally agree with you, Raphael. I totally agree with you. Owen says, Club World Cup was great when United was in it. Great memories. Of course, yeah. I think United won it. In 2008, I think it was. Yeah, it was a good one to win, but at the end of the day, it's just another kind of. I think it's a little bit better than the Charity Shield, but at the same time, I'd much rather win the Premier League. I'm just saying that. I'd much rather win the Premier League. John says, stop being delusional. Man United are finishing 4th and winning 0 trophies this season. Ollie's out of the wheel. There you go. Already the first bit of banter from John there. Box says, English teams play full strength. Yeah, I think, English teams do seem to, bring at least a pretty full strength squad. I mean, I think, in some games they do rest players, and I think they do look out for the fact that, it is in the middle of a Premier League season. But at the same time, I think Liverpool actually did a pretty good job of playing strong teams throughout, and they ultimately won it. And if you play strong teams throughout, that's what you're going to get. You're going to win the competition. Owen says, enjoy Ramsdale and Odegaard for 60 million quid. He's got a point, to be fair to him. Box says, Liverpool played full strength in 2005 2005 and lost. Well, that's Liverpool for you. Hey, that's Liverpool for you. But we're not here to talk about Liverpool. But yeah, it's a good point. John says, I ain't enjoying them. I want us to lose every game until Arteta is sacked. Wow, that is strong. I mean, each their own. But I mean, I don't personally agree with it. I think you should support your team. It doesn't matter whether you're in League 2, you're in the Conference North. You should be supporting your team. And as I said, I'm not someone who tells people how to support their football clubs. People can support them however they want. But personally, you've got to support the team. Even if you don't agree with what's going on, you've got to support the players on the pitch. Even if you don't agree with the board or the management, the players on the pitch, need the support. Owen says, Stephen disagree with you massively. I've seen that. Yeah, he has pretty. I mean, people have strong views on it either way, I reckon. But yeah, it is a contentious issue, especially with Arsenal right now. But I tell you, with the start Arsenal have, it's going to be difficult, mate. I've got to say to you, John, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. I mean, if you have more than 3 points by the international break, I will be stunned. I really will be stunned. I'll be saying fair play, to be honest with you. I'll be giving you your pat on the back, because I think, was it Chelsea and then Man City, is it? I think Arsenal got some pretty tough fixtures coming up, so it's not looking good. I have to say that. I mean, I know I take great pleasure in saying it, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Box says, have you been scouting Southampton? Yeah, of course, a little bit. And their main threat, obviously, James Ward-Prowse, obviously, is still a threat for Southampton from set pieces. Adam Armstrong, he took his goal really well in their game against Everton. He looks a decent player. He looks a wily old fox. And, I think with Southampton, it's the same thing. They still are a massive threat from set pieces, and I think that's where they're going to get their joy. Obviously, a big miss for them as well is that Yannick Vestergaard has been sold to Leicester City. And I think that's a decent transfer by Leicester, a decent move for both parties, really. But I think Southampton are going to miss him, and I think we're going to benefit from that. Obviously, Vestergaard, the player that scored in Ollie's first full season when we drew the game 1-1. Dan James obviously scoring a streamer on his away debut for Manchester United. But I think, Vestergaard is someone who's got a lot of height. He's got a lot of nous as well. Obviously, he's not the youngest person, but he's got that experience. And I think having someone as experienced as him in the back line, and someone who's such a threat from set pieces, especially when you've got James Ward-Prowse who can put the ball on a sixpence and is so good at free. Again, I would not be surprised if he scores a free kick on Sunday. He seems to have a knack of doing it. I think he did it like 2 games in a row or something when we played them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the amount of times James Ward-Prowse puts it past David De Gea from a free kick. So look out for that on Sunday. I'm telling you, look out for that. But if Southampton lost James Ward-Prowse, I would worry for them. I have to say I would worry for them because I don't see where their goals are coming from. You know, they really do look towards set pieces, and I just don't see it. They lost, obviously, Bertrand as well. That's a big loss for them. It's going to be difficult. However, you can't underestimate anyone, and even though I think we'll have just too much quality for Southampton, I still think that it's going to be difficult, especially in front of an away crowd, when it's their first home game of the season. Jonathan says, I told you England won't win the Euros. You kept on insisting they would with average players like Maguire and Shaw, Trashford and Sanchez, only for all 4 of them to flop against Italy. Sancho, sorry, I thought you were saying Alexis Sanchez there, but yeah, sorry. I'm not even going to give that the light of day, to be honest, but the only thing I like about the comments is giving the business to Owen. That's the only thing I like about it. Brennan says, no, he hasn't. He doesn't do facts. I don't know what that's referring to, Brendan. You have to elaborate. Jono says, my goalkeeper Donnarumma showed De Gea, Pickford and Dean fraud Henderson levels. Well, to be fair, you got... Donnarumma was class, and he was deservedly goalkeeper of the tournament. Pickford won the Golden Glove, to be fair. You know, Pickford did win the Golden Glove, so you can't really say too many bad words against Pickford. I mean, he was crap for Everton when we played them in the friendly. Normal service resumed there, but for England, he was class. He was absolutely fantastic. So, you know, that's one thing. Owen says, only lost on pens, but yeah, your point, Dean Henderson is a fraud. Well, there you go, he's just said it. Someone screenshot that. Owen just said Dean Henderson a fraud. There you go. Just screenshot that and put it on a bit of a loop. And we've got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got him with that one. Anyway, I've given my prediction. Let me know your predictions. We're going to go through the last few comments before we wrap up the stream. As I said, I will be on Let's Talk Premier League after this, so make sure you do tune in to that. It'll be at 10 o'clock, and we're talking all things United over there. So make sure you do tune in. But I'll be just wrapping up the stream in the next few minutes, so any last comments, please do let us know. Box says Chelsea were linked with Donnarumma, Varane and Sancho and Haaland and got none of them. But they got Lukaku, though, and we'll see what happens with that. I mean, do I think he's worth 100 million quid? No, I don't. But after I've said that, is he going to score against us? Absolutely. Absolutely. Adam at MUFC Daily, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining as always, mate. I'm looking forward to the game, you know, especially after that Leeds game. I think if we got off to a losing start, I'd be dreading this game, to be honest. But especially for Ole's sake, we needed to get off to that fast start. And I think a lot of United fans before the start of the season were talking about the fact that if we started poorly, I think a lot of people would be on Ole's back. But to get off the mark with a 5-1 win against Leeds is a massive confidence booster for the squad. And obviously with Varane coming into that, we're looking good. We are looking very, very strong. But it'll be interesting to see how Varane plays. And that's the one thing. Jono says, what do you think of Arsenal signing Niguez on loan? I think you're in dreamland, mate. I think you're in absolute dreamland. I mean, it'd be a great signing if you do get him, because I think he's a quality player, but I just don't see it happening, mate. I don't see Atletico Madrid giving you Sal Niguez on loan. I really, really don't. But as I said, he's a great player. He's someone who I'd love to have at Manchester United, and I think a lot of United fans would agree with me on that one. But yeah, I think you're in dreamland, mate. I think you're in absolute dreamland. But hey, you've got to have a dream to have a dream come through. Captain Sensible said that. Lukaku. I mean, look, no, I've got no hard feelings against Lukaku. You know, in the end of the day, he left us because he wasn't getting enough game time, and he felt like he could do better away from the club. Lo and behold, he's won the title with Inter Milan, and he's done a lot better. So, you know, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he went away and did well. He just didn't do the business for us under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Didn't really get paid. He definitely got paid. But didn't get played often enough really for his liking, and went away and did well. So I have to congratulate him. He did very, very well, and I've got nothing against him. But do I think he's worth £100 million? Probably not. Although, do I think any footballer is worth £100 million? Probably not. Jonathan says, haven't you heard Fabrizio confirmed it? Has he? Can anyone actually verify that for me? Because I think you're talking rubbish, John. I think you're talking rubbish. Yeah, I reckon it'd be trending. I think it'd be trending if it actually happened. No, not really. So there you go. I think you're talking rubbish. Andres Pereira has moved out on loan to Flamengo, as we talked about earlier in the stream. But yeah, I don't think you're right, John. I don't think you're right. Box says, are you going to give us some renditions of the Cavani chant before you go? Oh yeah, no, I saw that new Cavani chant. I need to learn that chant, mate. But I've seen it. It is a toe tapper. It's a quality chant. But that is usual for United. We come up with some of the best chants. To be fair, even though I don't think Martial's the best player we've ever produced, that Martial chant is absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of the best in the Premier League to date. So we're used to coming up with good chants, mate. I actually did like the ABBA one. Give it to Eddie Cavani. I like that one. I did like that one, but obviously people wanted a new chant for him. There was something in the air that night, if you pardon the pun. So yeah, I'll tell you what. If he scores the winner against Southampton, I'll definitely be giving the rendition of that new chant, because I'm looking forward to hearing it from the away fans, to be fair. And that's the one thing that we've missed as well. Manchester United's away support is up there with the best in the league, if not the best in the league. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. I'm looking forward to hearing that again. And I'm sure the players are looking forward to hearing that as well. Jonathan says, sorry, not Fabrizio, a journalist called Nuno Skrilla did. I haven't heard of him, mate, to be honest with you. And he also says, you ain't winning a trophy, Kieran. Face your reality, mate. You haven't signed a DM. I don't know where that was coming. I thought we were talking about Arsenal, and then all of a sudden you brought that up. I think we are winning a trophy, John. I think you're wrong on that one, Jono. I think we are winning a trophy, but obviously football is a funny old game, and it's not played on paper, and all those cliches I can rule off within 30 seconds. But in the end of the day, I think we should win a trophy. And as I said, if we don't win a trophy, I think Solskjaer's struggling. I really do think Solskjaer's struggling. This is his third full season. He's been backed pretty well now. I think we can all agree he's been backed relatively well. So we need to start seeing the results. We need to start seeing people deliver, and Ole deliver in particular. Box says, give it to Owen Coyle. I'll tell you what, don't boost his ego any more than he needs it. Don't boost his ego. John said, it's written in the stars for Ole to bottle it. I don't know what stars you're looking at, mate. I really, really don't know. You need to clean your telescope. You need to clean your telescope if that's the case. So yeah. Mr. Bobajango's joined us. Thanks for joining, Mr. Bobajango. Always good to hear from you, mate. He says, hi guys, it's Cavani back from his extended holiday. So, is Cavani back from his extended holiday to Ibiza yet? Yeah, he looks like he's back. And he is going to be in the squad, I reckon, for this game. Obviously, it'll be confirmed tomorrow afternoon or evening when they travel to the hotel they're staying in down in Southampton. So it'll probably be confirmed that Cavani's back in the squad, but I don't think he's going to be starting. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to start. Alright, there you go. I told you not to boost his ego. But anyway, let me know your score predictions, and we'll wrap it up in the next few minutes. But I want to see your score predictions in the live chat. Also, did anyone see Carlos Tevez back in the United shirt today? I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about Carlos Tevez back in the United shirt. I really, really don't. John says, Ole bottling in the last 3 seasons, and I've been right 3 times. Just like the bottle jobs England. Again, I don't know how you've linked that to England, but I have to give you props. I don't know how you've done it, but you've linked it to England, so fair play to you. But I wouldn't argue. I would disagree with the idea that Ole is. I think, yeah, you could argue with the semi-finals that we should have been better in those semi-finals. I totally agree with that. But okay, you know what? I have to concede. He did bottle that final. 100%. The tactical decisions that he made not to make a sub until like the last couple of minutes was disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful in my opinion. So he has bottled it. on some occasions, especially in that final. But this is the season for me. It has to be. It has to be. Box goes with 3-0 to Manchester United. I like the sound of that. Owen goes 4-1 Southampton. He has to be. You see, I know that's an absolute rubbish prediction. An absolute bowl of rubbish from Owen there. I mean, to be honest with you, Owen, if he said it was raining outside, I'd wear shorts and t-shirt. I mean, I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of his gob. Mr. Bobajano goes 3-0 as well. I like that. I like the sound of that. Clean sheet, 3 goals, top of the league. You couldn't ask for any more. If Carlings did Sundays, beautiful. Owen changed the 4-1 United. Very good, very good. You're back on track. You're back in the game. So there we go. A lot of people predicting positive results. If you're a Southampton fan out there watching, it looks like your team are going to get beat. However, I don't want to underestimate Southampton. I think they're still a decent side, even without Danny Ings. But I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I think they are. But the home crowd is going to be massive for them. And I think if they can utilise that and they can put us under pressure, it's going to be interesting. And I think especially with Varane coming in, he's going to be put under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny. So it's whether he can handle it. He's won all the trophies. I think he will be able to handle it. So hopefully he can hit the ground running, and hopefully we can win a second consecutive Premier League game and equal Arsenal's record of away wins or away games without defeat within the Premier League. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. We've come to the end of the stream. I'll be on Let's Talk Premier League after this at 10 o'clock. So please do make sure you check those guys out. Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching this as a video on the replay. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think United are going to win 2 out of 2 in the Premier League? Do you think we're going to be top of the league by the end of the game week? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well, of course, if you are new. Nearing 900 subscribers now, so anything you guys can do to help us out with that would be absolutely fantastic. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.